Welcome by Behind the Charge, a look behind the scenes of charging infrastructure. Today, my guest is one of the most influential figures at the intersection of energy and mobility. As the managing director of the mobility house Energy, he and his team have been pursuing a vision for over 15 years: the intelligent integration of electric vehicles into our energy system. While many see the charging stations merely as the fuel pump of the future, he recognized the potential of bidirectional charging early on. Under his leadership, the Mobility House has evolved from a Munich-based pioneer into a global expert, demonstrating how fleet operators and companies can not only reduce costs through intelligent charging management, but also actively contribute to grid stability. He's a sought-after expert in political committee work and a tireless driver for the regulatory opening of the market. I'm very excited to speak with him today about the economic reality behind the technology, his long-term persistence in political consulting, and the future of vehicle-to-grid. Great to have you here, Marcus Fendt.
Miriam, thank you very much to be with you.
Marcus, you have been at the Mobility House since 2010. Back then, there were hardly any EVs on the roads. What possessed you at the time to bet everything on the car as a storage unit?
So first, in the intro, you lift me by far too much because the idea was Thomas' idea. Thomas is a long-term friend, and he was my former boss at Accenture, and he had the idea, being a Tyrolean, living more or less in front of pumped hydro power plants and big dams, and then bought a Tesla Roadster and saying, yeah, a couple of thousand Tesla Roadster is nothing else than a pumped hydro.
Yeah.
Why don't we bring the batteries together? And that was his idea. And I thought, when there is a disruption in the industry, then it will be bidirectional charging. And it took much longer than we thought, by far much longer. But it turned out, and it will turn out, that it is true.
Yeah.
And it was much more complicated. We will dip into it and thought. But there are two things about the persistence. Is first, the first principle is absolutely rational and clear. And the second thing is to work for something where you say it has a purpose, and then together with a team like we have, it just continuously makes fun.
Yeah. You grew also a lot over the last, 16 years now, right?
Yeah.
So how was that scaling up phase in a market that didn't scale as much, right? How did you do that?
At the end, we always did what the market was requiring.
Yeah.
Therefore, it turned out by 2024, we have actually 4 companies. So one is taking care about charging infrastructure installation. One is taking care about solutions where we help fleets to electrify, software and hardware neutral. And one is in America, a totally different setup where buses, transit and school buses are most relevant for electrification, besides passenger cars, where we do a lot. And then we have Team Energy, where we take care about all the vehicle-to-grid things, starting actually with stationary vehicle batteries back in 2016.
Yeah.
And now also profiting with the stationary boom, because we built all the capacity you need to commercialize stationary batteries. So even this Team Energy is now kind of split in 2 business lines, one for stationary and one for vehicles. So you see, we continuously evolved around the topic, kind of where can we tap into the market, where can we expand the market, where can we position us.
Yeah.
That at the end, kind of we bring all these assets together, we gathered.
Yeah. And you're like saying right now is also 0 to 0, which is pretty bold, right? So what is it exactly? What lies behind that sentence? And hand on heart, in 2026, how close are we?
We draw already a little bit back because Thomas' first wording was free Tesla for everybody. then
Okay.
then there we realize, okay, so much money we can't earn in the energy market, and also not everybody wants to have a Tesla anymore. So we draw back to 0, because in most situations, it's really possible to, if you give the flexibility of charging, but as well the capacity of your battery to the energy market, you can earn roughly around the amount you drive for a year. So in France, it's currently 10,000 kilometers. In Germany, it will be slightly more. It also always relates a little bit how the energy markets are, how much renewables we have in the system, how the regulatory framework is appreciating it. So, but therefore the 0 means zero cost for driving. But, and this is the second important thing, we have 0 emissions.
Yeah.
And if you reflect back, we have a lot of technologies where, if you really look into it, they made the life much easier. They gained an additional value add. If you look at your smartphone, for example, and I think these people will realize over the time that this is also possible with a car, because nobody takes care what happens with your car
while it's standing.
While it's standing, you just don't mind, as long as all the risk is given to somebody else, or the complexity.
So huge business potential also that is still even untapped in, right?
Business potential, certainly now from an entrepreneurial point of view, and for sure this we have to look at that perspective. We want to feed our people and pay them an appreciating salary, but also we have investors. We need to pay back the money they trusted in us and they gave us as an upfront investment. But also it's not just about the money. It's something where you say, we make a better system, and especially kind of with the current situation where we see where gas prices are, or fuel prices are. You see, wow, we actually, there is a way out of that.
Yes.
Is it a fast and an easy way? No, but there is an alternative. And for 100 years, we got used to, we do it like this. And now an alternative opens up. And I think this is great to do that together with the team, with an environment, with business partners like EcoG. So it makes a lot of fun.
So if you think about the last few years, what was, in your opinion, a game changer so bidirectional charging can now really hit the mass market?
Actually, there was not the game changer. It was the first principle. Everybody believes in it. And then it's more, I think the game changer will still come.
Okay.
Because we really worked hard. There was one car manufacturer like Renault tapped into that very early. All charter mode cars could do it, but have been always too far from the market, like the Mitsubishi and Nissan before. Renault was now the first step doing it AC. So very bold move from a technology point of view for a car manufacturers. Kind of great engineering work, and let's see where the direction goes, AC or DC in the future. I think both will stay for different use cases.
Yes, probably.
So that was the first step. Now BMW and E.ON, Mercedes with us, and a couple of others with us. Many projects where it was proven, and then a regulatory framework evolving where, and this is really driven by the European Union, they understood flexibility well. They kind of derived flexibility laws in many different articles and so on, which are now subsequently taken over by the member states. And I think the game changer was certainly the launch, a commercial launch in France. It will be the launch now in Germany when we also get the double taxation finally removed. And I think the real game changer will be still 2 to 3 years ahead, when it is common knowledge. Still by today, it is one car manufacturer, it's one country. At the end, it's like the iPhone moment. Nobody could have. I don't know anybody who had the iPhone 1.
Yeah.
The 2 left out
I know
anyhow.
one person.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I still wonder if he has it at home.
Your dad, as a tech freak, huh?
He was more the Siemens kind of. Yeah, he actually didn't have it. Yeah.
So I think we need the iPhone 3 moment when it works stable. You have a couple of features you really would like to have working smoothly, and therefore we do all that work we currently do together, and then it spreads out. Press is reporting on it. Car manufacturers have it. Competition starts with more communication, more trust established. You also need kind of different offerings. Customers want to have kind of security and the choice of variances. So I think the game changer will still come.
Interesting.
And especially the game changer will be when it's more or less really understood also from the energy system. Because there is nobody in politics yet who understands the and also from a car manufacturer's, the C-level knows it, but the potential they have is not really clear.
Interesting.
And we can have kind of the power or the money we give to the oil majors now.
Yeah.
To Middle East, this can stay in the country. We can do that with the German car industry. We can do that with the German utility industry. We can have a lot within our country.
I think you already paved the way to my next question, because talking about regulatory framework, I mean, in Germany, we are like so involved into the oil and gas industry with our cars. Still, it's so emotional. But France was really like one of the pioneers, the first one doing it. So when you think of the regulatory framework and looking into the European Union as well, what do you think? Why is it smoother in France? Why were they faster? And also, for example, the Nordics, they're also adapting super fast to EV to EVs in general. So what do you think? What can we learn from them? And why is it still so hard here in Germany? What do you think?
I'm not a fan of this continuously relating that everything is
better outside.
France certainly has an advantage. It's a centralized country. It has one big grid operator. If the CEO of Renault is going to Macron and Macron is going to the grid operator, to the CEO, things work there. You can start things faster.
Yeah,
that's just a political setup. France is into it, so France got the exemption within, I think, half a year until 2030 for the double grid fees, and there Germany is not so pragmatic. Yet, would all car manufacturers, kind of all CEOs, have said that boldly 3 years ago? Kind of the government would also kind of shift things faster. They did. They kind of founded the coalition of the willing, but then we had a lot of discussions. We have 860 grid operators. Kind of everybody tries to protect a little bit his field. If you change something, everybody is looking for his advantage, and so the discussion process is just longer in Germany.
Yeah.
I think the key thing is what I wish actually for Germany. We are farthest in renewable energy for an industrialized country. So there is no industrialized country with 60% of renewable energy. And
don't celebrate it enough, right?
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
A lot of
we rather
don't
see it as a problem
yeah.
currently than as an advantage, because And then we have the best automotive industry of the world, or the most experienced one. Yes, is the transformation on the automotive side into EVs tough? Certainly.
Yes.
Is the transformation in an energy system from oil and gas and nuclear to fluctuating or intermittent renewable energy tough? Yes. But if we fix it, and if we would have see that as a positive narrative, like a moonshot project to say, we make it happen and it will be better because it's more resilient, it has less CO2, it creates jobs locally. We don't have to spend 80 billion in oil and gas to other countries, and we create innovation in our automotive industry, in our utility industry, and that innovation we can then export again, because all the other countries will come to that situation as well.
Yeah.
Like you're not working only in Germany, you're working all over the world. And you created jobs, we created jobs. So if we see that narrative as a positive one for the future, and we all join in, I think we can achieve a lot. And hopefully by podcasts like this and press support, and we get into a positive innovation narrative for our future. Because there are so many good things to achieve.
I would love that. I'm all for it. And let's also hope that the rest of our community helps us chime in there.
Please.
Talking about German politics, I totally get you, and it's not about what worked bad, but maybe how does it work also for companies that listen in our ecosystem. If you want to get something through, you have been super active in trying to get it get the double taxation out, and now it was the moment. It finally happened. They saw it. What was that moment? How was it for you, for your team? And what is the work that you have to do? Like, what is your advice to other companies who are working in the same field? There's still a lot of regulatory things that need to happen to make it easier. So yeah, what would you say? What did you learn out of that process?
We for sure didn't do it professional. So like, we are not lobbyists. We are addicted. We are convinced to do the right thing, which is also an advantage because the counterpart feel it. So if you approach politicians with real life examples how it works, and not kind of with policy paper what they should do, because they all need stories.
Yeah.
That is certainly an advantage that we always proved it can work. Second important thing is to join in with others. There are so many engaged people who exactly want to drive the innovation we were talking before.
Yeah.
And supported also from the East. Certainly we have competitors in some areas of what we do, but the cool thing is we all join in, being it on the smart meter level, being it on regulatory points. We all join in to achieve a regulation on a level playing field, and we still need gas. And I don't want to say now, I'm not ideologistic now on gas, but we should reduce it to kind of the minimum, and then we have it as a backup. Great. But wherever we can drive innovation, we should drive innovation. And there are so many other companies, being a big one, but also smaller one, joined in. We have really good associations doing proper fact-based work. So this is, but at the end, you also have we have to confess it took by far too long.
When did you start with that and trying to find partners? And
we pre-qualified the first electric vehicle as a power plant in the German system 2016.
Wow.
And since 2016, it's shown in life. We are still proud because we have been mentioned in the New York Times with that project. We did it with a mid-size utility, the NRV in Hagen in Germany, because we knew them and they were active on that. So if you see how long it took that from first project until you really now have serious electric vehicles, platforms which can do V2G.
Yeah.
Volkswagen back in 2023, now BMW, now Mercedes. It took quite long.
But finally we're here. That's amazing.
Absolutely. That's the important thing. Yeah.
By the way, we mentioned the situation in which we are right now also on a political level. Do you get signals out of the government already that they are interested in now even investing more, or is it too early to say that they would think about that? Like, have you in your environment like already got some signals that now they're even getting more into?
There are some politicians who really appreciate it. What we need is the trust point that it is on an industry level.
Yeah.
Because certainly if kind of a freaky startup is going there and telling them a story, they like it, but also as a politician, you need certain trust levels.
Yes.
You need proof points. And now I think with the launches upcoming in Germany, with the proof points in other countries, and that's really cool that French Renault drivers are driving 10,000 kilometers for free. That's insane. So we are talking about 5 cent grid fee reduction. You just need to create an environment, and you can give that money to your EV drivers. You don't need a subsidy for EVs. You just get a level playing field to other power plants, to stationary storage, and right away EVs will have a big advantage. Yeah. And from there on, you need to evolve it. So
the pull effect will come in like immediately.
And therefore, I think we are now kind of at the start, and the game changer. I think you need 15% kind of perception rate, and then kind of people understand it, decision makers understand it, and they will then continuously say, yeah, can't we do that with cars? Is the law appreciating for cars as well? Can we give it back to our voters? And once politicians are confronted with that and have the trust level that it works, kind of the game-changing moment starts.
Can't wait for that moment. Let's talk about it.
We still have to work a little bit on it.
Let's sit together again when we see this moment.
No, then we invite all the audience for a big party.
For a big party. Everyone should come. Now already coming a bit to an end of our talk, working over 15 years in that field, what did you learn? What is your personal lessons learned for yourself?
The most motivating thing is the surrounding, being a team where, which supports when it's tough, kind of who goes the way with you, who is also engaged, kind of who pushes you when yourself can sometimes doubt that it's working. So that so many engaged believers, people who put a lot of efforts in to achieve that. I think this is kind of a key lessons learned. What you need, that you make it. It's like at home, you need a kind of the right partner is great, and for achieving something so new and relevant, you need kind of a great team. And then all the learnings, kind of endurance, just get up again and try again, and also how to manage downturns. So certainly as a startup, you invest in the future, and then suddenly one regulatory change back in 2023, kind of the industry went south. So we also had to reorganize ourselves, and then kind of investors start doubting. How do you get investors convinced? So all these surrounding things, kind of also a lot of lessons learned have been made. So I now understand why you have serial entrepreneurs, because once you went through a phase like this, the second time it's much easier, because you know much more what will come automatically.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Marcus. Is there anything you want to give to our listeners? What should they wait for? I think I heard a lot about come to Power to Drive to get a few new announcements. Anything else that you want to say to our audience?
No, more on a principle level, we can first we can achieve a lot if we want to do it, if we not can just lay back and accept everything. So you can move the needle if you engage yourself and get the right team behind it. And it is fun and worth it to invest kind of in a renewable and intelligent future.
Amazing. Well, I think there's nothing to add. Thank you so much for your time, Marcus.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thanks so much and all the best.
Thank
Bye.
you.